No! No! Hey, what's up guys? Mikey here. I've been playing Mario Clash on the Virtual Boy all day today. For some reason, even with the level select screen, I cannot get past level 7, and I don't know why. I swear, if I can get past level 7 today, I'll stop there. I won't even try level 8. Skill Crane is the episode where Squidward wants to win at a crane game and becomes obsessed with it, both before he wins the prize and after he wins the prize. This episode aired on May 20th, 2005, and is the episode where the quarters are shown to be gold instead of silver like they always are in other episodes. Anybody else notice that, or find it odd? As the title suggests, this episode is about a crane game, which are notorious for being not easy to win. But it has nothing to do with skill. It's the fucking claw being a fucking claw and fucking us over. AKA luck. Now, I've been to my fair share of arcades in my day and played some crane games. I'd be lying if I said I won a bunch of them, but I'll never forget my first time winning one. I was at a friend's birthday party when I was about 10 years old. I played this crane game when I was there, and the prize I won was a penguin plushie. I was so happy when I won it. I still have it after all these years because I wanted to commemorate the first time I won a prize from a crane game. I remember I did like and relate to this episode, but I never went absolutely insane over not winning a crane game like Squidward. However, his sentient of,
"If I could just win once, I'd never play again."
I say that all the time when I'm struggling with the hard part of a video game. Whether it be a hard level or boss fight, I freak out and say those things in anger and desperation. So I do relate a lot to this episode, but since I'm good at not freaking out over crane games rather than just video games on my home systems, I oddly don't think about this episode too much when I reflect on finally winning what I'm struggling with. It's probably because it's a different type of video game, but still. Also, the first time when I won, I never used SpongeBob's strategy of being the crane. I will admit I never spent roughly $1,000 on just a single arcade machine just to try to win something. Even though that crane was the only thing at the Krusty Krab, but still. I did play the SpongeBob's Pineapple arcade game many times to try to get all 9 character cards from it, and while I still haven't accomplished that, I just like playing the machine as an easy way to get tickets or points. So now that I've shared my history with crane games, let's watch this episode so we can learn how to be the crane. So the episode starts up and a vending supplier shows up at the Krusty Krab with a new machine that Mr. Krabs ordered. A crane known as Skill Crane. It only requires 1 quarter per turn. Mr. Krabs gave them both a quarter to use the crane. Squidward was hesitant, but he agreed, and he almost got a toy that was a little buried in some other toys. SpongeBob took his turn and won a stuffed bear on the first try. Squidward got annoyed and tried again. This time he did lift a toy, but it slipped out of the claw. SpongeBob played again to get another toy for his bear, Barry, and won another toy that Squidward said he loosened up for him. Nope, that's not the same toy. Squidward was going to try again, but he remembered Mr. Krabs saying it only takes a quarter to shame somebody, so he changed his mind. SpongeBob kept winning more toys from the crane and was playing with them in the kitchen. Squidward thought he heard the crane taunting him, so he gave in and Mr. Krabs gave him some change to play the game. He lost, so he gave Mr. Krabs more money, and this went on for a while until Squidward ran out of money. Do I even need to say how much I relate to that? One Monday, Mr. Krabs actually came out and paid them money. He gave SpongeBob a normal check and made Squidward's paid check just a bunch of quarters. Squidward tried not to fall for Mr. Krabs' scheme. 6 hours later. But it didn't work. Then SpongeBob came up to get another toy for Sponge Bear Jr. So is the name Barry or Sponge Bear Jr.? He won 2 things with 1 quarter, so he put 1 back in the machine. After work, Squidward tried to relax, but every time he tried to pick something up, he was haunted by the crane sound effects and taunting mechanical laughter, even at night before going to bed. So he grabbed his personal money and raced to the Krusty Krab. The next morning, SpongeBob arrived and Mr. Krabs took all of Squidward's money, and even the deed to Squidward's house. Squidward was so desperate to win that he would leave it alone forever if he finally won. So SpongeBob told him that there was a secret to winning. The secret was closing his eyes and being the crane. Squidward wasn't sure if it would work for him, but he gave in. SpongeBob made him put his quarter in, even though it was his last one. Couldn't SpongeBob have given Squidward one of his own quarters, so that way Squidward could have at least 25 cents to his name? Squidward was one with the crane, and he did indeed win. He was overjoyed and started gloating about it.
I'm a winner, everybody! You hear that?
I did. He gloated all day, even though Mr. Krabs was rudely basking in Squidward's quarters. Squidward gloated to a little kid, who got mad and kicked him in the shin. After work, SpongeBob and Squidward left and they saw a construction crane. Since Squidward was addicted to cranes, he worked the construction crane the same way as the skill crane. He managed to pick up a steel girder, but he accidentally destroyed the new mall the construction workers were building. Squidward tried to stop the crane, but he ended up losing control and the crane destroyed the Krusty Krab. I was waiting for that to happen this season. The construction workers were f***ing pissed. SpongeBob tried to save Squidward, but only picked up Teddy, leaving Squidward vulnerable to the construction workers, and the episode ends. So that was Skill Crane, and I would say that is a solid episode. Like I said, the feeling of being addicted to games and trying until you win is so relatable. I've been that way so many times in the arcade. But let's go beyond that and talk about everything else. First off, let's discuss Mr. Krabs. I think the idea of him having the skill crane in the restaurant is a great money-making idea. I've been to a handful of restaurants that have a crane game or some kind of game in the lobby, and I've played on those when being waited to be seated or waiting for our food. I will say, I'm not a huge fan of him taking advantage of Squidward's need to win, but something that does impress me is the fact that when you look at the sack, there's a lot of quarters in there, which suggests that he, at least in this episode, pays SpongeBob and Squidward a standard working paycheck, which is impressive since he'd pay them minimum wage at best. He'd usually pay them as little as he can get away with.
You hardly pay us at all.
And besides, he got his comeuppance for taking advantage of our favorite Squidward when the Krusty Krab got destroyed, which was one of my favorite parts of the episode. Fun fact, Squidward spent at least 3,500 quarters on the machine, which is at least $875, which makes you wonder how much houses are worth in Bikini Bottom. I like SpongeBob in this episode too. Even if he's effortlessly winning the crane left and right, I like when he's concerned for Squidward going crazy over winning and teaches him the secret to winning the machine. I love when he gets annoyed over Squidward's constant talking about winning, showing even he's tired of Squidward going on and on about this, and when he's concerned of Squidward taking and losing control of the real crane. Him playing with his stuffed toys in the Krusty Krab kitchen brings back memories of playing with all the stuffed toys I had, especially the Build-A-Bears. I even like his look and slightly lower tone of voice when he floats to Squidward the idea to winning the crane.
Hey, you want me to tell you the secret of how to win on this machine?
And of course, Squidward. I love Squidward in this and relate to him so much. And beyond that, he has some good moments too. I like when he snaps at Mr. Krabs when he has no more money, and I like when he tells Mr. Krabs he won the crane and he'll never play again. Even though some people might say he's being insufferable for how much he's bragging after he wins, I personally view it as him letting out all that adrenaline he's accumulated with the 3,500 plus times he didn't win on the machine. He was so shaken from all the times he lost that he was still feeling it inside after he won. I also really liked when Squidward was bragging. Since nobody else was around, it's just funny seeing him let out his energy.
Triple decker on deck!
Make way for the winner!
I also love when he warns SpongeBob when the crane is out of control and how he's immediately willing to listen to SpongeBob when he wants to learn the secret to winning the machine. This episode also teaches a good lesson about not letting expensive hobbies consume your life. Squidward lost his damn house because he was so determined to win. Even his piggy bank was sad Squidward was stooping this low. As previously stated, the runaway crane is my favorite part of the episode, but aside from that, there aren't too many sequences I love. I do remember Squidward's meltdown at nighttime, but not for the best reasons. For more neutral reasons if anything. It would be cool to see other customers play the crane, whether they win or lose, just to see how somebody else like Patrick or Sandy might react to something like this. Just for a bit more variety. And the passage of time sequence here, I'm not the biggest fan of. I think if they toned down that mechanical taunting laughter,
You lose!
I'd be more okay with it. Which makes me think that the laughter was absolutely unnecessary to be programmed into the crane. Just the winner and lose expressions said by the crane's voice and the buzzers were enough in my opinion. But other than that, we're good. This is a good episode if you ask me. It's not the best this season, but it's far from the worst. It has a good moral about addiction and expensive hobbies. The characters are pretty strong in this one, mostly, and it's very relatable for just how we can all be obsessed with winning crane games. It may be slightly less good or funny compared to other episodes with great messages, but in my opinion, the message here is just as important as some of the best morals this show has taught. So that's a pretty big plus if you ask me. Also, Mr. Krabs is able to avoid paying taxes. Please teach me your expertise, master. Skill Crane is a solid episode. It's got some good sequences, some good character work, and a good story that we can all relate to, with a moral that we can all take away from, which is something that the best episodes of the show always have going for them. I'll admit that this moral may not be on par with some of the best morals from other episodes, but it's still pretty good if you ask me. And now, after playing for a day and 10 minutes, I must finally beat this level. Come on. Come on. Yes! Yes! I finally did it! I finally beat level 7 of Mario Clash! Yes! Oh, yes! Oh, I'm so relieved. Alright. Time to put the game away, not play level 8, and take a rest. I need it after all that. Oh, that's better. Alright, today's the neighborhood block party. Ugh, of all days to have it. Some neighborhood this is. Squidward is one of the main characters of the show. He often gets heard, but most of them up to this point were usually deserved because he'd do things like take advantage of his neighbors for his pleasure. The only real exception is episode 6, Jellyfishing from season 1, where he got heard more than all the other episodes from seasons 1, 2, and 3. But there was a reason that ultimately led to his downfall, tricking SpongeBob and Patrick into thinking they were his best friends. Even if some of the instances of him getting hurt went too far at times, at the very least there was still a reason that caused the karma. But starting with this season, there are a lot more episodes where Squidward did almost nothing to warrant getting hurt. Good Neighbors is the episode where Squidward wants to relax on Sunday, but SpongeBob and Patrick keep bugging him to join their secret Good Neighbor Lodge. Like Skill Crane, this episode aired on May 20th, 2005, and is also known as
Get out of my house!
Arguably the best thing it has going for it these days. It's also the first season 4 episode where Mr. Krabs doesn't appear at all, but that's more of a fun fact if anything. Now there have been a handful of duds in the earlier seasons, but those were overshadowed by the highs of those seasons. And season 4 wasn't originally supposed to happen, but because of how well the SpongeBob SquarePants movie did, the network pushed for more. So much so that Steven Hillenburg felt it was necessary to push himself away from being showrunner. And while season 4 has felt a little different compared to seasons 1, 2, and 3, up to this point, every episode this season has been solid at the very least, and I'd say they fit right into the previous seasons. But then we get to this one. Now I'll admit that I don't have a lot of memories of this one, but I was also starting to keep up with the show a bit more around this time. There are some people who say this one is the worst episode ever, and others who think it's overhated. I do remember a lot of this episode, but it's been a while since I've seen it in full. So let's watch this episode to see if I think it's overhated or the worst ever. Actually, I think I'll stop by the neighborhood block party for a bit. 2 minutes later. Turns out it wasn't the block party. The neighbors were throwing a grad party. This neighborhood. So the episode starts up and SpongeBob, Patrick, and Squidward are sleeping. SpongeBob's alarm goes off and Squidward wakes up from it. SpongeBob shows up in Squidward's room to remind Squidward not to miss work. But Squidward reminds him that it's a Sunday and tells him not to bother him. SpongeBob decides to do him a favor and deliver him his Sunday paper. Ah, the good old days, when we actually got newspapers. But the paper fell apart, and Patrick, and even SpongeBob for some reason, thought SpongeBob was a newspaper monster. Squidward shouted at them, but still was determined to spend the day relaxing. He got out a slightly unusual Sunday relaxation kit and ordered a pedicure and foot massage house call. Right as he ate a bonbon, SpongeBob and Patrick showed up inside his house and declared him the new president. Not the president of Bikini Bottom, but of this new Good Neighbors Club they made up. Squidward got annoyed and tried to get rid of them by making them paint the leaves on the trees, specifically a polka dot color. Polka dots is more of a pattern than a color. So Patrick loaded up SpongeBob with a can of red paint, and they fired the paint at the trees, which gave them red spots. Unfortunately for Squidward, it was already noon. SpongeBob and Patrick showed up, and Patrick accidentally sprayed Squidward's face with paint, which got in his eyes, and a couple thought Squidward was sick and took him to the hospital, but SpongeBob and Patrick just thought he was going for a ride in the country. SpongeBob holds a meeting of the Good Neighbor Lodge, but they discover Squidward is still missing. What took him so long? They were a little worried he was in danger. Then the nail artist Squidward ordered showed up for him, so SpongeBob and Patrick decided to make sure he was legit. Squidward showed up and saw them using what we didn't see him pay for. Apparently, Squidward's hour expired quickly, so the artist left. Squidward was furious and told SpongeBob and Patrick to get out and stay out. He even screamed at them, saying they were the worst neighbors ever. SpongeBob and Patrick realized they had been bugging him way too much, and they left ashamed. Holy crap! They actually realized what they did made Squidward upset. When Squidward saw how SpongeBob messed up the Sunday paper, he got mad and kicked it in the air. And then he accidentally discovered an ad for a security system to keep out intruders, so he bought it and it came immediately. After he set it up, SpongeBob and Patrick came inside with an apology cake. Squidward was mad the security system didn't detect any threats from them, so he banged it up, which caused the system to think Squidward was a threat and zapped him. SpongeBob flung the cake in the air by surprise, which caused the system to go haywire and for Squidward's house to grow arms and legs, throw Squidward out of the house, and walked away. That is simultaneously the most cheap and expensive security system I've ever seen. No wonder the installation was free. SpongeBob and Patrick were still inside Squidward's house when it walked away, and Squidward was pleased to learn that they weren't around now, so he used that advantage as an opportunity to relax. Meanwhile, Squidward's house was destroying Bikini Bottom and easily overpowered their defensives. SpongeBob and Patrick tried to turn the house off, but didn't find the off button until the house was right on top of Squidward and it crushed him. Squidward emerged from the floor and calmly asked SpongeBob and Patrick to leave until he was angry again. Then an angry mob of the whole f***ing town showed up to his house, and a guy presented him with a summons to do community service every Sunday for the rest of his life to pay for destruction of Bikini Bottom. SpongeBob and Patrick each got a summons too, which caused Squidward to have a mental breakdown, and the episode ends. So that was Good Neighbors, and that is a rough episode. Is it the worst of the whole series? No, not at all. But it's not amazing either. I actually have no problem in admitting that this is the worst episode of the show up to this point, aka the first 124 episodes of the series. But to be fair, considering we've had so many highs and only a couple lows, I wouldn't say that's too surprising. There is so much that's not great about this one. To start, let's talk about SpongeBob thinking there's a newspaper monster close to him.
Newspaper monster!
Okay, he was holding the newspapers. Why does he think there was a newspaper monster? This kind of reminded me of episode 14, Hall Monitor from season 1, when there was allegedly a maniac on the loose in Bikini Bottom. Patrick saw the flyer and told SpongeBob that the maniac was wherever SpongeBob was, but SpongeBob didn't make the connection that he was the maniac. Now, SpongeBob didn't see a poster of himself until after he caused some destruction while inside the mailbox, and then he made the connection. It's still odd that he didn't put 2 and 2 together since he called himself the Open Window Maniac, and it was clear that there was a maniac loose in town. But Patrick's wording and only seeing SpongeBob from the distance makes sense as to why he would freak out the way he did. I don't have that much of a problem with Patrick thinking there's a newspaper monster, since that's in line with what happened in Hall Monitor. But with SpongeBob, it feels wrong. After this latest rewatch, I realized that starting with this episode, SpongeBob and Patrick start coming inside Squidward's house without knocking a lot more often. Previous episodes, like episodes 28, SB129 from season 1, or 91, Snowball Effect from season 3, at the very least show the characters knocking before they enter, showing some common courtesy. In this one, they don't. They just come in. Of course, it didn't start here. In season 1's jellyfishing, they did come into his house and surprise him.
Welcome home, Squidward!
Merry Christmas!
But that was also with the intent of surprising him to celebrate him coming home from the hospital. But those good things led to worse things, so I'll give this a pass. Same thing with episode 19, Opposite Day from season 1, where they give him a surprise party on a day that's not his birthday.
Surprise! Happy birthday, Squidward! It's not my birthday!
To be fair, they might have just gotten the days mixed up, but it doesn't feel too bad in my opinion. But they don't force him to join a club or take him jellyfishing. The whole party is inside the house, so hey, even better. Right here, they just constantly interrupt his plans to relax. Granted, he's not injured in this episode like he was in jellyfishing, but this one doesn't come off as obliviousness. This one is just a lot more like an invasion of privacy, which is much worse. Even in jellyfishing, they at least ask him to join them jellyfishing the first time before they take him later. And they take Squidward's sarcastic comments literally, so that's why they decide to take him. Here, they don't even give Squidward a say, and they just want him to become president of their new club at the start. Again, that makes it worse. Now, of course, I don't like the ending. Squidward did nothing to deserve anything of what happened. SpongeBob just came inside at the beginning without Squidward's consent to remind him about work, on a day where they don't have to work. The day confusion part doesn't bug me, but again, why not ring the doorbell before coming in? He does call SpongeBob a bad neighbor, which in this case is even true as far as the beginning, since he just came inside without any common courtesy. But still, losing every Sunday for the rest of his life all because his security system going haywire and destroying the town, and he couldn't control any of what happened, that's absolute bullshit. Maybe if only SpongeBob and Patrick got in trouble at the end, this could be better because it would be comeuppance for everything they did to Squidward, but that didn't happen. Sure, we know we won't see the community service happen in future episodes, but in the context of the story, it's still egregious. I really feel bad for Squidward here. And sadly, this is far from the last time this kind of thing will happen. Now, despite all that, I do have a few positives about this episode. I like Squidward getting ready to relax for Sunday, even if he can't relax for long. I like that this couple thinks Squidward is sick and take him to the hospital, which is a sweet gesture. Even if they don't listen to him when he says he's not sick, their hearts are still in the right place. The sequence of SpongeBob and Patrick painting the leaves is neat, but nothing worth writing home about. I like these two gags right here. And I love that Squidward was actually able to get through to SpongeBob and Patrick and let them know that they were actually doing things that made him unhappy. Usually they don't notice, or they're too dumb to know better. So the fact that they actually picked up on it this time is definitely remarkable, and they felt guilt for it too, so that's nice. And while they still entered the house without common courtesy, I like that they still wanted to give him a cake to apologize for what they did. It's like when they went to Tentacle Acres and gave him a cake to apologize for when they destroyed his house in episode 53, Squidville from season 2. I do kind of like seeing Squidward's house walk the way it does. I've always liked the theory of Squidward's house having a life of its own, and this episode seems to add on to that. And while the ending is bad, I do appreciate that SpongeBob and Patrick got in trouble too for the fact that the house went haywire, since it was their cake that led to the rampage. While of course that makes things worse for Squidward in the context of the story, I do still appreciate that it wasn't just Squidward who got in trouble, especially since he wasn't inside the house when it destroyed the town. And I think that's it in terms of the positives. There's not much funny in here either, so that's a huge negative. But I will say, this could be worse as well. The two people that cared for Squidward in this scene, they could have just not cared at all, implying they might not have any remorse for anybody who's sick. And SpongeBob and Patrick could have ignored this message, but they actually realized that they were in the wrong, so that's something. But still, low bar. Now I do think with these last few points, I would say it's a little overhated, but it's not good either. I would say that this is worse than the other duds I've talked about so far, like episodes 52, Grandma's Kisses from season 2, or 101, Party Pooper Pants from season 3, just to name a couple. But those I can at least see a better story from. Not really this one though. It's not the worst episode of the show, far from it, but it's the least redeemable up to this point, in my opinion. I might say it's the worst episode of season 4, but we still have a long ways to go before I can confirm that. At least Squidward's in character.
Yes, I
but he's impossible to get wrong. Good Neighbors is a rough episode. Lots of factors bring it down. Poor Squidward just can't catch a break. SpongeBob and Patrick are in the wrong just about the whole time, and they get away with almost everything. If only SpongeBob and Patrick got in trouble at the end and not Squidward, that probably would have made the episode at least a little better, and it could have been worse as is, and I am thankful it wasn't. But still, both of those are low bars. But I know there are a lot more episodes in the future that use the character that gets tortured for no fucking reason premise, and I know that some of them are worse than this one, and those are not going to be enjoyable to sit through. Might as well prepare myself.